You know, I've had a change of heart after this wonderful Boris Johnson summing up. That's the leader of the Brexit campaign, summing up like this with all this wonderful unifying us versus them speak.
Those on their side, we on our side, who offer hope. Between those who have been endlessly rubbishing our country and running it down, and those of us who believe in Britain. They say we can't do it. We say we can. They say we have no choice. We say they are woefully underestimating this country and what it can do. If we vote leave and take back control, I believe that this Thursday can be our country's Independence Day.
I reckon the world needs another lesson in the folly of following vapid, patriotic chest beaters.
We on our side who offer hope. Between those who have been endlessly rubbishing our country and running it down, and those of us who believe in Britain.
Sure, you've got to pay for these lessons, but when the lessons get this expensive, people might actually learn from them. You see, I want them to win, because then all of the responsibility lies on them.
They say we can't do it. We say we can.
It's all on you. And deep down, you know that most of the munchkins who can be persuaded by such vapid, patriotic chest beating probably don't even have the skills to stack shells, let alone make Britain great again.
And those of us who believe in Britain.
Sure, I've not lived there for about 15 years now, but I did grow up there. I know the country, and I've got news for you. It's not all those EU laws about flame retardant labels that are keeping Britain down, and I love just how many of you have been convinced that it was, by things like the Brexit movie.
Here is regulated EU man waking from his regulated slumber to start his regulated day. You wouldn't think you'd need a law for pillowcases, but the EU has 5. But that's nothing. The pillow inside is subject to 109 different EU laws.
But is it, though? Because we blew up that frame and then went looking through each of the pillow regulations they feature. And the problem is, most have nothing to do with actual pillows. This one is a classification of a type of breakfast cereal that comes in pillow shapes, is related to a merger between 2 auto part companies that included the phrase pillow ball joints. This one uses the word pillow in reference to this weird foot pump thing, which is supposedly for inflating air mattresses.
I didn't think you'd need a law for pillowcases, but the EU has 5. But that's nothing. The pillow inside is subject to 109 different EU laws.
And most of them have no idea that they send an incredible 1% of their average taxes to Europe.
How much tax do you pay to the European Union as a fraction of your total tax?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to calculate it.
Your typical Brit earns about £30,000, euros, dollars, doesn't really matter what. About 1/3 of that goes in tax. That's about £10,000, of which about 1/5, 2,000 or something, goes to the NHS. Guess how much goes to the European Union?
Probably not all that much, no.
About £100, about 1% of your tax goes to the European Union.
So some of my tax goes to the European Union?
Right, and of that 1%, most of it actually comes back in one form or another, in that you're paying them, and they're giving you the money back in terms of research grant or building opera houses or some silly shit like that. Right, most of the money is coming straight back, and you're really worried about your taxation of without representation on 1% of the actual tax that you pay.
I would be concerned about it on 0.1%. I would be concerned on any amount. The fact that this is the system...
Bullshit!
I totally would.
You should spend 99% of your time worrying about the tax. I mean, have you any idea of the silly things that the UK government spends its money on?
But yeah, they're freaking out about 1% that goes to the EU and not giving even the slightest crap about how the government wastes massive amounts of the 99%. And honestly, I'm going to love it after Britain's actually pissed everyone off in the entire world by this very patriotic changing of the rules from those horrible EU bureaucratic rules stifling British freedom and free trade about no lid in kids' toys, because that's the first step towards a European superstate.
They're asking people. No, but they're asking people to give up their sovereignty in the long term. That's the goal.
What sovereignty?
Okay.
Come on. What sovereignty? No, I want to know what sovereignty have you given up for the EU?
Okay, 50% of the laws are made by people I didn't elect.
Bullshit. Right, name one of them.
Well, just because I can't name one doesn't mean it's not true.
Oh, come on, for fuck's
sake. But this is what they say.
The EU is imposing all their horrible burdens on me.
The European Commission's website.
Flame retardant label on my chair.
Yeah,
right? If that is the imposition, if that is the freedom that you've given up, it's bullshit.
Look, that is the very beginning.
And to the delightful trade-friendly British laws about, no lead in kids' toys? Seriously, when you've economically pissed off everyone else in the world.
Reports by groups like the British Treasury, the Bank of England, the IMF, the OECD, the National Institute of Economic and Social Research, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Oxford Economics and the Centre for Economic Performance have all predicted that leaving would have a negative effect on the British GDP.
As almost anyone with a qualification in the subject has said, what do you think is going to happen next? It's going to be funny watching all those Make Britain Great Again have that confused look on their faces. Someone explains to them that Britain actually got about twice as much science funding out of the EU as it put in. And yeah, I know scientists in the UK who are freaking out about that because they know damn well that they're never likely to see that money replaced by the democratically elected UK government. You don't want to listen to those know-it-all eggheads anyway. All that science and technology stuff probably won't be important in making Britain great again. And for those of you who are absolutely convinced that I must get money off the EU and that's the only reason I support it, well, I've got news for you. First of all, I'm overwhelmingly self-funded off YouTube at this point. Sure, I work at an institute that pays me, but honestly, I've got no idea where that money comes from. But I do know that that institute gets an absolutely massive amount of money off an AIDS retroviral patent, which earns almost as much money as everything else put together. So hell, I guess this means as far as you conspiracy theory guys are up for, that means that all of my chemistry videos should now be regarded as shilling for Big Pharma. And even if you were right that I was getting funded from the EU, let's be real, if the UK leaves, the amount of funding per nation in the EU would actually increase because the UK takes out more than it puts in. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, it will be reduced by 100%. Yeah, enjoy screwing over UK science, munchkins. Oh, and if you think that money's going to be replaced by the British government, God, I love the mindless, optimistic naivety of you folks. You've just had a government that split the country down the middle over some bloody stupid referendum, and now you think they're going to behave so wonderfully that they're going to put all their money into such vote-winning subjects as science funding. Oh, and dear God, the amount of crow you Make Britain Great Again chess beaters are going to have to eat once you realise that maybe, just maybe, all those egghead economists actually knew what they were talking about.
I think the people in this country have had enough of experts from organisations with acronyms saying that they know what is best and getting it consistently wrong.
Yes! These eggheads with their studies and degrees. I get my economic forecast from Clever Otis, the GDP predicting horse.
And you might, just might have to ask to, rejoin the EU? Dear God, there just wouldn't be enough popcorn. You don't want the United Kingdom to stay in the European Union. That would be boring. You know what's going to happen if you do that. It's going to be stable. It's going to be dull. People are going to have to keep having their freedoms infringed by all those EU bureaucrats enforcing their non-democratic laws like people should wear seatbelts. And no one would learn a lesson about the stupidity of following patriotic chess beaters. No, we need Britain to live up to its Top Gear persona and do something interesting. And yeah, hell, I'm actually kind of serious. The UK in or out is likely to have almost no effect on me. Sure, leaving is economically stupid. But for a lot of people, they just can't put a price on their freedom. Unless, of course, it's paying the government taxes to impose laws on them and employ police forces and judicial systems, all of which limit their freedom. But outside of that, if you're paying 1% extra tax, then no one can put a price on their freedom. Enough of this stable, boring crap, Great Britain. Let's have a little Top Gear.
Now 130 miles an hour, he's lost the back, he's lost it! He's up! Oh my God! Oh my God, that's a big one.
Gonna need some popcorn.